Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 18th of April 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's afternoon session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few of the charts, some of the charts from this morning. But as always, before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the Nasdaq100. Now this is very interesting here because yesterday Nasdaq100 had a nice brief overshoot above the all-time high, so basically creating a new all-time high, jumping above the 7,700 level and managing to reach the area around the 7,715 zone, from which it quickly retraced back below the 7,700 level, and now it's currently sitting here. And looking at the cash index right now, certainly it seems that it is trying to push back towards that 7,700 level. It is currently not far from the yesterday's close, so yep, let's see how this is going to play out today, and we might see another push higher. But if it fails to drive above the 7,700 level, or even actually if it fails to drive above the newly established all-time high near the 7,715 level, now this is, of course, will be a bit of a cautious signal for us. I mean, we could see a bit of retracement back to the downside. And if I zoom in here a little bit closer, basically, guys, if we look at this one right now like this, so if we see another push above the 7,715 level, or of course initially above the 7,700 level, but then of course the 7,715, then that's great for the bulls. We could see a new all-time high, and of course this would bring the index again into the uncharted territory, where we will have to find a new potential target for ourselves. And but if this decides to reverse back down and starts dropping below this little area here, let me just put that on the chart, below this 7,650 level, or even 49 level, then we may see a bit of a correction here to the downside, maybe all the way here towards the 21 EMA here, shown as the yellow line here on the 4-hour chart, or even actually going all the way towards this upside support line, taken from the lowest point of December. Now we'll keep that in mind. Certainly, like I said, from the very short-term perspective, that's what we could be targeting here. If we see if we see a break below the 7,650 level, but if it travels back towards the 7,700 level, starts breaking it, and then clears the this newly established all-time high, then yep, that's wonderful news for the for the buyers, for investors here, and we could see this one traveling into some new territories and hitting new all-time highs. So very exciting times right now on Nasdaq100. The S&P and the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones are actually still away from their, still slightly away from their from reaching their previous all-time highs, but the Nasdaq, like I said, the Nasdaq100, that's the one that's kind of catching our attention right now, and let's see if it actually manages to push towards these new levels. Jumping into DXY. Now DXY, I was talking about this one, and I was talking about this one this morning, basically, and sorry, this morning, yesterday I was talking about this one, and basically what we were looking here is we were looking for a nice push above these key resistance levels near the 97.12 and then 97.20 zone, approximately there. So we managed to get a nice pierced through these two levels. We managed to reach the area near the 97.32 level, marked by the intraday swing high here of the 8th of April, and now it seems that it's trying to push further up here. Our target around here on the upside is around the 97.50 zone. Slightly below that, we do have the high of the 5th of April, of course, near the 97.47. But like I said, that's why I was saying our target here is going to be around the 97.50 level. The 52 here marks the high of the 2nd of April. So very exciting for DXY. Very interesting. Let's see if the bulls manage to push that further up here. But if, let's say, this decides to reverse back down and let's say closes the daily candle below the 97.32 zone, now this could maybe bring the DXY, the dollar index, towards slightly lower levels here. Maybe these the 97.20. Maybe tested from above here, but to be honest, if this decides to start dropping below the 97.20 or even below the 97.12, I mean, we could then target this upside support line again. I mean, a bit of a tentative one, but continues to kind of play out and we could see a test of that line. But again, like I said, I'll repeat myself, we need to see a drop and we need to see a reversal here back below the 97.12 level. For now, looking at this chart, it seems to be more positive than negative. Ethereum, let's have a look at this one, and basically it's managed to push back itself higher. It managed to rebound from this. Initially was a tentative upside support line, had a brief drop here below that, but quickly got back above it and traveled higher, broke some of these key levels of resistance. So actually, let me just adjust this one. This one is no longer quite interesting. What's interesting here was that it managed to break above the 169.50 level here, marked by the high of the 15th of April, and you can see that it traveled higher. It reached a new area here near the 174 zone, from which it retraced back down, but still holding up here, holding above this 169.50 level. So for us now, what we're going to do is we're going to play it short and simple. We need to see a nice good pop above this recent high at 174 level. This way we could then target these recent highs, these April highs near the 185, or even slightly above that, the 188 level, so the highest point of April. But again, I'll repeat myself, we need to see a nice good push above the 174 level first before we could target these higher areas. In terms of the downside, if this drops below the 169.50, we may see this one sliding maybe a little bit lower, maybe even actually revisiting this upside support line here again, and if that fails to withhold, then we may see maybe a slide lower here towards the psychological 150 zone. But again, we're not gonna get ahead of ourselves. First, in terms of the downside, first we would start looking at lower levels if we see a drop below the 169.50 levels, but only up until this upside support line. In terms of the upside, again, I'll repeat myself, the 174 level, that's what we're keeping a close eye on. Let's jump into euro dollar. So euro dollar here, I was talking about this one this morning, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on these key levels here, the key support and resistance levels. So on the upside, I had the 1.1325 level, and on the downside, we had the 1.1280, which a break of which, I mean, opened the path towards these lower areas, and basically we had a nice drop here after we received the German PMI figures, which came as a disappointment. So the German manufacturing PMIs, I mean, because the services were kind of fine, but the manufacturing, yep, they didn't meet expectations, and you can see that we had this nice, well, nice for the bears, reaction to the downside here on the euro dollar, which managed to break the 1.1280 and traveled lower, managed to take out this 1.1250 level as well, but it still kind of didn't reach our other target here near the 1.1230 zone, approximately there. So it's kind of stuck here in between these two levels. for now, what we're going to do here is, of course, now at this point in time, the 1.1250 level is becoming quite an interesting one, because if we see this one traveling back above it, then we may see the pair actually retracing some of its losses here, potentially maybe traveling all the way here back towards the 1.1280, testing it from underneath. And of course, if the bulls do have enough power to kind of push this one further up again, then yep, that's wonderful for them. More bulls could start joining in here if we see the pair traveling back above the 1.1280 zone, and we could then target this little higher level that I was talking about previously, the 1.1325. The only issue here is now, because we need to slightly adjust these lines here. So basically, in terms of this upside scenario that I just mentioned, we're going to keep our upside line here, because in other words, it's not going to be it won't be irrelevant for us anymore, because if we see this one traveling back above the 1.1280 zone, certainly that increases the chances for euro dollar to travel higher again. The only thing is, of course, keep your eyes on this little downside tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of January this year. So keep an eye on down, because this is where the rate could stall initially. Of course, but if the bulls do have enough power to push further, the next potential target here is this 113.25 level that I just mentioned. So basically, that could be this nice upside scenario. Well, if we do see a push above the 1.1280, the next target for us is this little downside resistance line. But if that fails to withhold, the next target is the 113.25. But again, for this scenario, we need to see the pair reversing sharply back above this and traveling back above the 1.1280. In terms of, for now, it doesn't seem to be the case. So now it seems that it's looking quite bearish. This level here, the 1.1250, if it continues to hold and it continues to act as a good area of resistance, we may see a further slide lower, a test of this 1.122830 zone approximately there. Now this is where we could see maybe a little retracement to a rebound first, of course, and a retrace, which could lead towards a retracement back to the upside. But if this 11250 continues to hold, we may see something like this, basically, guys. So we may see another reversal back down, and this time maybe bypassing the 1.122830 zone and then traveling further down towards the 1.1205 or even lower. But we're just gonna, like I said, for now, just gonna keep it short and simple. First for us now, the main level to watch is the 1.1250. And actually, let me just drag this highlighted area towards this, because this is going to be the one for us to watch right now. So keep a close eye on it. If, let's say, this decides to push above the 1.1250 but actually fails to drive above the 1.1280, now this is going to be our little neutral territory for now. We're just going to continue observing the price action, just going to keep it, leave it there, and just see what it wants to do and what kind of next step would the pair want to do. But only if, like I said, only in the scenario if we see the rate pushing back above the 1.1250 but failing to travel above the 1.1280. So this is, like I said, this is our little neutral territory here. Jumping into USDCAD, now the last pair for this session. Also, I was talking about this one this morning, and I was telling you guys to watch out for this little area, this little, in a way, initially it was a bit of a tentative one, but look how well that played out. So this 1.336365 zone, so basically a nice good push above that. You can see that they opened the path towards higher levels, and this is what happened. This is what I was talking about this morning. Basically, I was telling you guys to watch out for this this level here, and because it might might clear the way towards these slightly higher levels, like the 133.90 or the 1.34 zone. So you can see that the pair traveled higher, almost managed to reach the 1.34 level, just fell shy of a few ticks here, and then reversed back down. So for now, at this point in time, looking at this picture, what we're going to do here is, of course, now we're going to wait until we see a nice good move above the 1.34 level in order to consider further acceleration to the upside here. But if this suddenly starts dropping below the 1.3363 level again, we're going to wait here. We're not going to do anything, but if we'll see this pair traveling back below the 133.40 area, approximately there, now this is where the pair could travel back down towards this lower side of the range that the pair kind of continues to trade in here. And this little range is here is between the 133 zone, approximately there. I do understand, I do accept the fact that there were some overshoots here, but you can see that the 4-hour candle kind of didn't quite close didn't have a significant close, let's put it that way, below this 133 zone. I mean, we did have something here happening, but you can see that it's quickly reversed back to the upside. So that's why, guys, we're still aiming for this 133 zone only if we see a drop below the 133.40. In terms of the upside, we're going to take a more conservative approach here and wait until we see a push above the 134 level, and only then target slightly higher areas like the 134.45, 50 zone, approximately right here near the highs of the March 28th and March 25th. So keep your eyes on this, guys. Very interesting developments here. I mean, a bit of nice sideways action here, so basically a range trader's paradise. So let's see how this is going to play out further on the line, especially tomorrow. And let's see how it plays out tomorrow. Basically, that's quite that's just simple as that. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me tomorrow morning at my Traders Espresso, and that's 6 o'clock GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.